Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the Make Me Whole podcast. I'm your host, Josette Rosado, and today we are joined by Cassandra Rosa, who is a certified life healer and intuitive business coach. She basically helps spiritual entrepreneurs create and fulfill lives and impactful businesses. I am so excited to have her here because I love talking with coaches and people who delve deeply in how we can do better for ourselves, how we can empower ourselves. Cassandra, thank you so much for being here today. I am so glad that you can be here and take the time to talk to us about what you do. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your practice, and what just lights your fire about the people you work with?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, like Josette said, I do coaching, healing, intuitive business coaching, and I really love to help people to really step into fulfillment and make an impact that they're destined to make. And lately, I've been really focusing on going deep in the spiritual entrepreneur journey. Because when you do that internal work for yourself, that transforms your external world and helps you really step into that ripple effect that you're destined to make. So, yeah, that's what I love to do. I have a podcast as well that's going to be a guest on called Fulfilled Female Entrepreneur. That we have guests just like Josette come on and explain what fulfillment means to them and kind of share their genius in what fulfills them at their core in the hopes of helping you to step into your own fulfillment. So that's what's lighting me up lately.
I love that. Tell me, who's your identified client? Like, what are they coming in with? When you say spiritual fulfillment, what does that look like with the people who are coming at your door?
Yeah, so it's a lot of people that are experiencing now what moments, which are kind of people that are like longing for more and they're searching for clarity of what that will look like for them, what their offerings can be if they step into entrepreneurship. And we go deep in the subconscious beliefs, the mindset, the things that are holding them back from creating the life that they want to create. So we kind of focus on clarity, confidence, and then just kind of getting started on their entrepreneurial journey. Because I'm intuitive and a lot of the people that I work with are spiritual, I do a intuitive kind of sprinkle and everything, incorporating things like meditation and oracle card readings so that we work on things on a very holistic level with the mindset piece, with the practical workshop style kind of coaching sessions, as well as that spiritual flair so that they can really create that transformation on all levels, on the mental, on the emotional, and the energetic and spiritual.
I would imagine that it is a full service. It's something that you come into, and it's not just kind of saying, help me be a better business person. It's really help me tune in. And I wonder, what is the transformation you get to see with these clients?
Clarity is really big. They may come in and have this longing for more, but not have all the pieces of what that looks like. So, seeing
Hmm.
that light bulb moment come into fruition is so beautiful. Having that empowerment, having that confidence to actually step in fully to who they're destined to be and their divine purpose is also so beautiful. And then just seeing them to start to create an impact in their life when it comes to creating books for some people, stepping into offerings, coaching, spiritual entrepreneurship. It's such a beautiful thing to see.
Do they have to break through negative messages or negative, just ideas about themselves that they might have in the past?
Yeah, it's a lot conditioning, right? Because there's also people that come in, they have this idea, but they keep taking one step forward and two steps back. And that's due to the conditioning that we have from like 0 to 7, 0 to 13 in our developmental years. It can be that bullying that happened when they were kids that where is holding them back from really stepping into it, or something that happened in their family dynamic that made them kind of scared to authentically be themselves. So it's a lot of unlearning in the process of moving forward.
How do you break away from that? I mean, I know that there's so many of us who are in that journey where we're trying to break away from those negative messages, especially depending on our culture, depending on our upbringing. So many people you see now showing up saying, I'm letting go of that toxicity, I'm breaking away from family culture, I'm breaking away from um, just what is expected of me, embracing that black sheep kind of
Mhm.
role in the family. How is that showing up?
Well, I think the first step is always awareness because we don't know what we don't know. And as we're moving through life, we might not be aware of what's truly holding us back and where it came from. What situations in our life contributed to these roadblocks that are very subconscious. So it's a lot of awareness pieces, a lot of journaling while we start. And then I use things like NLP, neuro linguistic programming, to help get to the root of these things and to help them clear it on the mental and the energetic level.
Can you explain that a little bit more for people who don't know what that actually is?
Yeah, so NLP is neuro linguistic programming. It really works with the subconscious mind. So bringing awareness to specific pieces that are holding you back. And then we have these different practices that help you to become aware, to clear, and to rewrite these things that are holding us back. So it's such a powerful practice. It was actually one of the first things that I was certified in on my own journey in entrepreneurship. And it's been something that stood the test of time all these years later that I still use in most of my sessions with my clients.
What got you interested in doing these kinds of services to make it that this is what you were called to do?
Yeah. So, a little bit about my story from a young age. I knew I wanted to make a difference in the world. I didn't know what that meant. I thought maybe I'll be a teacher or a psychologist. And halfway through my degree in psychology, I had this now what moment, this calling for more, maybe not taking the traditional path to becoming a psychologist, but I didn't know what that meant, but I just felt this intuitive nudge for more. So I just kind of started saying yes to a bunch of opportunities, including going to Namibia, Africa, and mentoring kids in an after school program. And this was about 10 years ago. And I fell in love with it, but I had no idea that you could get paid to mentor people. At that time, coaching wasn't as big as it was now. So I ended up coming back to Canada and doing the path that my parents always wanted for me, which was insurance, taking over the family business. And I was like, I'll make a lot of money, then I'll make a difference in the world. I'll create a foundation or something like that. But I kept having this intuitive pull for more. So I don't know if I was like young and naive or what it was, but I ended up stepping away from the corporate world, just getting a sales job to make ends meet. And that's when personal development came into my life. And I was developing myself in so many beautiful ways. And I had this like light bulb moment of, wow, this could be the way that I make a difference in the world, that I make an impact and a ripple effect. So now it's been 5 years that I've been doing it full time. And it's been such a deeply fulfilling experience to work with so many clients over the years and have beautiful conversations on podcasts and as a guest, kind of sharing my light and my experiences with people.
And it must be such a big difference than being in the corporate world and just getting to see. I mean, that's the end of it. That's where we try to, figure out what to do and how to be successful on that end. But to be successful in a way that you can see how people change and the things that they do to find really peace within themselves.
Mhm.
It just makes a big difference for you. It's what you were called to do. It's so cool to see. Um, which of your experiences with your clients has been one that stands out in your mind?
There's so many. There's one that's coming up to be shared of my client that took a bajillion courses. Worked with so many coaches. But again, it was this one step forward, two steps back kind of energy coming from her. And now she's an author. She has clients. She's showing up consistently on social media. She's not letting that procrastination, the fears hold her back. So it's just beautiful to see clients over the years take that step that not too many people end up doing for the long haul and start to make their own ripple effect. And it just reminds me every day of no matter what happens in my life or whatever doubts that come up for myself as a coach, it's that much more important to step forward because it allows more people to step into their light and make an impact in the world.
I think that brings a really good point out when it comes to people who are entrepreneurs and who are looking for that sense of guidance. That there are so many coaches or people who can call themselves coaches who are really misguiding
Mhm.
and not really helping people get to their next level. I mean, how do you compete with those kinds of messages and people who are not trusting the process and who are, saying, well, you may be just like everybody else? How do you break that apart and give them that message that no, you can trust, you
Yeah.
can do.
I think in the beginning of business, we take a lot of time trying to convince people to work with us. And I
Mm,
feel like when that experience happens, it's because we're not fully trusting our abilities in ourselves. So I found the more that I've trusted myself and I've realized how much transformation I do make, I am no longer in this energy of trying to convince people. If people are doubting me, then that's not the energy that I want people to be stepping into the experience of working together with. I want someone that is committed to themselves, that trusts themselves, and is willing to give 150% to be able to get the results. Because what I've understood in my own coaching, working with other coaches, and along the journey working with people, the people that show up with this yes energy, let's go for it energy, are the ones that get the massive results. The people that
right.
are kind of tiptoeing around might not get that same experience because whatever you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So if people are being
Absolutely.
really dependent and wanting me to kind of walk them through that first step, it may not be the right time for us to work together. So I will give
Absolutely.
loving guidance. But if it gets into a convincing energy, I choose to not move forward with them.
I'm big on that. I don't think that, if you've sought me out and you've got some information, I don't want to have to prove to you that I can do the work until we do the work together. So I'm big on that. I think that's a really good point to bring out.
Mhm.
How do you help clients feel that they are able to work towards being more empowered? What is it that you feel is that special kind of combination or sauce that they have to put together so that they can work towards that empowerment for themselves?
I think sometimes in the industry, they make this talk and there's images on social media of being invincible, of like, no fears. I don't have doubt. I help them really realize that that's a part of the process. When you step outside of your comfort zone, there are going to be fears. There are going to be doubts. There are going to be things that are going to come up and scare you. So it's going in with that realistic aspect and giving them tools to harness their empowerment in those moments of growth. Because every time you're stepping outside of your comfort zone and you're doing a next level of success, a next level of um, impact, doing things in when it comes to new projects, those fears are going to come up. So it's really teaching them resilience and
Right.
teaching them that fear is your friend, and that fear can be a compliment when it comes to personal growth. Really acknowledging that your soul is so confident that you're able to achieve something that your ego comes in extra loud to try and get you to sit down and not accomplish it. So really helping them to build resilience and change their relationship with fear is kind of the approach I like to take.
Yeah, kind of like allowing it to be in the room.
Hmm.
People are really uncomfortable with emotions. I
Hmm.
find that happens so often. And once you get an opportunity to kind of sit down with those emotions, I think it makes a big difference. And
Yeah.
fear is one of them. Fear is a big one because we all go through it. We all share that. So I think it's great that you help people feel comfortable in their own fears. And
Hmm.
then you get to see that change, which, as you mentioned, it's just great to see. What are some of the successes that you've seen in clients? You mentioned a couple. You
Hmm.
seeing one client become an author and just taken into their own power. What are other successes that you've seen?
Hmm. It's interesting as like a coach and someone that's business like oriented, because we're doing the inner work to see how it affects all other facets of their life is huge. Like I've had a client that she was in like a very toxic relationship, and because she became empowered, she started focusing on her business, her personal development, taking all these courses to expand herself, taking action based on our coaching. That also was released. So I think it's so beautiful when you're teaching people empowerment, how that affects all areas of their life and how it can transform their families and their dynamics in such a beautiful, powerful way. Seeing that same client having her relationship with their kids being so different, teaching them things that we're talking about, like
Hmm.
meditation and like, authentically sharing their voice and healing their kids too. It's such a beautiful thing to see. It's like going to be a legacy. It's going to be a multi-generational thing that we create. So it's a beautiful other success story.
Some providers have either regular sayings or mantras that they like to share with their clients. Do you have one?
Oh. Because we're talking about empowerment, I think that whole concept of fear in terms of personal growth is a compliment, is a big one that I found myself saying over and over and over again.
I think that, I always think of something that you could put on a t-shirt. It's like what's something I could put on a t-shirt and my clients will wear proudly, knowing that this is something that they've been able to internalize. And it sounds like that's exactly what you do. Any ideas that that our listeners could use for beginning their meditation practices or just kinds of ways that they can center themselves?
Mhm. I think one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to meditation, and I had this too in the beginning of my journey, was that you had to quiet the mind. I think when we create the space to meditate, and if life is so full, when things are coming up to the surface in meditation, that's wonderful. It's cultivating a lot of self awareness.
Mhm.
So it's leaning into that, listening, and then when you have become aware of it, returning back to the practice. Doing things like guided meditations, I think are great for beginners too, because you are guided, and whenever your mind trails off, and after you become aware of the thought, you can come back and be guided with the practice. I think too, when it comes to meditation, we think that, you're monks on a mountain somewhere and they do these lengthy meditations.
Yeah.
Start with 5 minutes a day.
Yeah, that's a really good practice. Yeah, absolutely. Especially for someone who might feel uncomfortable with the idea of meditation, that is a really good place to start. It's like you
Mhm.
don't have to sit there for hours and hours, but if it feels good, add another hour. I'm sorry, add another minute or so to it. That's definitely a good place to start. Um, Especially when I'm working with Spanish speaking clients who oftentimes are like, meditation, what is that? I ask them, do you ever pray? And they'll say, yeah. I'm like, it's just like that.
Mhm.
Just sit there in prayer for like a little bit. And they're like, really? Yes, that's exactly it. And so when you say like not sitting in silence, but using words, usually when they can do that, it makes a difference. Or it at least like shows something, it shows that centering, that quiet time, but not so quiet. There's something that you can do there to kind of give yourself some calm or some peace,
Mhm.
knocking out all the busy noise.
Yeah, self-connection, right? Even going for a
Absolutely.
walk and just being conscious of the steps you're taking is meditation. Doing adult coloring, right? Painting, like kind of like how you use the rosary when you're praying. It's kind of like even saying a mantra and having like a necklace or something with beads that you can kind of
Yes.
repeat and touch on and make it kinesthetic. There's so many beautiful ways to meditate. It's not about sitting in silence on the mountain, right? So it's also finding your favorite form of meditation, experiment, look at it with curiosity and a lighthearted energy, and it'll be amazing to see how that beautiful tool um, can change your life. It's definitely worth the hype, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Tell us how people can find you, where you're located, just ways in which, people can connect with you if they wanted to reach out.
Yeah. So you can go to CassandraRosa.com. Access to everything is there. My podcast, my services, my book as well. Everything is there. Or you can come and hang out on Instagram. My handle's Cassandra Rosa A. I love to hang out there. And lastly, the podcast, Fulfilled Female Entrepreneur. Come and check out our episode with Gisette. I know it's going to be amazing. So yeah, thank you again for having me. It was so much
No,
fun.
thank you so much for being here. I mean, it's been such an honor to just have you here and hanging out with us. And I hope that you just continue to do what you do because we need you out here doing just exactly what you have shown us is necessary and helpful to so many of us that need to keep growing and being powerful in our own person. So thank you so much for that. All
Thank you.
right, guys. Thank you for being here for this episode, and I'll catch you on the next one.